Flosstube. How are we doing? We are here on this lovely evening for, wait for it, a WIP Parade. A WIP Parade. So this is my 2019-2020 WIP Parade. So what is leaving 2019 and heading into 2020 with me. This video will also have, towards the end, some projected new starts, like beginning of the year new starts, and then some details on my plans for 2020. So sit back, relax, get yourself a beverage and a snack, and settle in for a WIP Parade. I don't know about you, but I like me a really good long WIP Parade, and I got a lot of whips to show you. So welcome. I am Annie, Joy-Filled Stitcher, here on Flosstube as well as on Instagram, and I'm excited because 2019 was my first full year back whole hog into cross stitch. A little bit about me real super quick. I have been stitching off and on since I was 16 years old, so that is approximately 23 years. Sometimes I've been really gung-ho into it. Sometimes it's just stash sitting. This year was all bets are off. I have fallen back in love with every aspect of it. This year brought highs, lows, finishes, FFOs, UFOs, changes in style, adding linen into my stitching repertoire, adding even weave into my stitching repertoire, adding designing into my stitching repertoire, adding beautiful silks, fancy flosses, stash for days, and whips for days. So, with that being said, I will share year-end stats in my January 3rd video, so that will not be part of this video. It will likely be filmed in two separate parts. We are going to start with some whips tonight in this filming session, and then it's possible we're going to have to do this in more than one go. So, we'll see. I am battling some allergy situations over here in this world, so it's kind of explains the sultry raspiness of my voice. So I was watching my dear friend Debbie, who has come up with the hashtag Stitch or Ditch. So in her Whipapalooza, her WIP Parade for this going into 2020, she is taking a good hard look at all of her whips and deciding if she's going to stitch them or ditch them. So I love that. I had already kind of done a whip down earlier in the year, and I had also figured out what could get finished quick. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to take a hard look at some things and say, is it still bringing me joy? Is it still something that I want to work on in 2020? Because I got some cool stuff coming in 2020. Or we want to ditch it. And in that respect, if I decide to ditch it and it's something you're interested in, let me know. And I may do some kind of like a pass the stash. So let's start with one of my newest starts. So there's not much in this. And I do not actually have a printout copy of this yet. So I have it queued up on my iPad. This is a Shannon Christine design. This is called Home Sweet Home, and I'm calling it Home Sweet Home Gingerbread. And it is a gingerbread band sampler with some specialty stitches. Kind of my first foray into specialty stitches. And I have put in about 100 stitches into this. I am stitching it in the called for DMC. I did pull in one fancy floss, a Victorian Model Glory Rose. I did not have DMC 321, and it's such a prominent color. And I decided to pull that in. I got some fancy flosses, might as well use them. And I am doing this on a 28 count gingerbread Lugana from Picture This Plus. Purchased it off of 123 Stitch. And I have the centermost band stitch. So that is the width of the project. I am loving stitching on this even weave. So far, I've yet to, at the beginning of this year, and in some of my very first videos, which were back in May, so I've not been doing Flosstube for a year yet. I used to say I'm not going to stitch on linen, I'm not going to stitch on even weave, I'm only going to stitch on Ada. Ada all the way. Ada. I'm eating all those words now because I am enjoying the linens and the even weaves, up to the high counts. This is a for sure stitch, hashtag stitch, so it will go over there to be put away. All right. Living in this Garonne toten bags. This is my hashtag Batbird Acrobat Santa. It was an oops. It has 3 projects living in it currently because these are the 3 that are going to go with me on vacation. The first of which is Doreen Jones Nativity Finger Puppets. I am going to do these as stand-ups. And I am stitching them on 14 count Mill Hill perforated paper. So far, I have the start of Mary and Baby Jesus, her blue dress, and the outline of Baby Jesus. I'm going to use the bag to help me out here. So that is where I am. I apologize for my stuffliness, but it is what it is, and we're going to roll with it today. I am hopeful that when we go out of town, it will not be near as allergic as I am now. I'm loving this. I'm excited to do this for my daughter. I love the big blocks of color, and I'm actually enjoying the perforated paper. So this will be a stitch. I don't know why I tossed it over there. It needs to go back in this bag. Also living in this bag is my 12 Days of Christmas by Plum Street Samplers. This is a freebie off of her blog. I am stitching this on 18 count Ada from Mystic Fabrics. It was one of her mystery piece colorways that she did for the cutting cross stitch Letters to Hogwarts style. And instead of the traditional red and green, I'm going outside the box and using Victoria Motto Canyon Wildflower and Desert Turquoise. And so far I have one precious pair. And I'm loving this. And I will be stitching these. I'm counting this as one WIP. And I will stitch the whole series as ornaments. And so I'm taking number 1 with me. So it is living in this bag. This is the bag that is going with me. It has my snips in it. Also living in this bag is another new start. And this is another 12 Days of Christmas. This is 12 Days of Christmas by Satsuma Street. And I cannot get over how cute some of these are. So I have started on the partridge in a pear tree. I will be stitching all the borders, and I am stitching this on a 36 count linen in white. This was when I got off of a stash unload. It actually turned out to be the exact amount that I need with the proper borders around each ornament. I'm not going to cut the fabric down, so I have a Garonne Totten Bags Grime Guard holding my excess. And that is where I am. So as you can see, I have tent stitched the entire first border because I feel like this is going to actually help me as I'm on the airplane tomorrow, that I'll have something that doesn't have to be counted. I'm going to do some more tent stitching tonight. The one great thing is this is charted in DMC. You will notice I have one Victoria motto in there. It calls for 304. And if you are doing the borders, it calls for 5 as ornaments. The borders as ornaments, it calls for 5 skeins. I have a beautiful Victoria motto that is in the colorway Americana Red that charts close to DMC 498 and 304. So I'm using that for all of the borders, and then the 304 in the actual pattern will be in DMC 304. So those 3 live in this 12 by 13 Garonne Totten bag. I love his envelope closure bag that has these stripes. All 3 of these are for sure stitches. I have yet to ditch anything. I don't know anything I've ditched. Next up is a bag from So Much to Love. And this one holds a lot of Christmas projects, a lot of smalls, a lot of bigs. It actually holds currently the rest of my fabric for the Plum Street Samplers. So next up, and I did do a fabric swap on this, is my Madame Chantilly Christmas tiered tray. It's called Celebrate Christmas. And Debbie at Creatively Yours and I are doing the hashtag MC tiered tray Sal for Madame Chantilly tiered tray Sal. I am using my Caddy Cross Stitch Snippety. And I ended up swapping this on to a piece of Snow Day from Luminous Fiber Arts. I had this on a piece of Ada and I wasn't loving it. So I restitched what I had already had. Hold on, my noodle is loose. My needle is loose. I do keep my needles in my projects. That's bad, I know. And I went ahead and restitched what I already had done. And so far, I'm loving this so much more. I'm stitching this in a mixture of fancy flosses that kind of go in line with what was called for by Madame Chantilly. I have a pretty epic stash of flosses, and so I'm choosing to use some of them on this pretty project. And I just realized I did not put the paper back in there. That's going to be a reoccurring theme. All right, so also living in this pouch holds a lot. So just hold your horses, folks. And I keep my projects in this inside Ziploc baggies with all their supplies. And usually in these, I keep one Q-snap. So I can swap in on that. And it's my 6x8 Frankenstein. This is from the 2017 Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament Edition. This is from my Big Toe Designs. And this is A Savior Has Been Born. So it is a small ornament. I am stitching this in the called for. I think I swapped in one light purpley brown. Swiss chocolate is the color from Color and Cotton for one of the gassed colors. This is on Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, 36 count colonial parchment. I actually have enough to do probably 2 or more of this size piece. So far I have Has Been Born. It has not changed since the last time you've seen it, because I have been in a Start All the Things. This is for sure, I have a lot of big projects, so some of these smaller ones. So far, I have not had anything that is going to be a ditch, but we're not there yet, because I've got, so you can't see what I have over here. I have a tub here, a tub there, my 3-tiered pink Raskog cart from IKEA that has whips all in the top, and then the second shelf is kitted. I have a second turquoise Raskog cart that the top is overflowing with whips, and then I have more supplies on the bottom 2 shelves. Okie dokie. Next up in this pouch, in this beautiful gallon-sized Ziploc baggie, is my With Thy Needle and Thread, designed by Brenda Gervais, Souvenirs of the Heart, Home for Christmas. I am stitching this on a piece of, I have the sticker somewhere here, 18 count Picture This Plus in sterling. And I actually believe I have enough of this to stitch this one and Autumn in a Manna. I don't know that I'll do it on this, but I have enough for that size. And this is where that is. And I like this piece. I've noticed some of the Picture This Plus are stiffer. Some are looser. This one's a good stiff one. A good stiff piece of fabric. That's what she said. Alright, so next up, and this is by Little Stitch Girl. This is Plaid Tidings. This was called Start All the Christmas Things. I had like nothing Christmas because I started in January. So like this was Start All the Christmas. So you've got Plaid Tidings by Little Stitch Girl. She is on Etsy. I will be stitching all 3 of these houses in mostly the call for. This is on a piece of 18 count Color and Cotton. It is from the Harvest Mystery Box. This is Tombstone, which is a pretty light gray. And so far I have the cross portion of the greenhouse's border. I love this. I love me some Color and Cotton Ada. I love me some Color and Cotton Linen. There's something fantastic about what Angela does. All right, there's one more project in here. These So Much to Love bags can hold an awful lot. And this is my local L&S came out with a 2019 ornament for this year. It is a pretty snow globe. It is stitched over 1 on 28 count linen. My first foray into over 1. And so far, and this has been hard for me to show, but so far I have just the teeny tiniest little over 1 moon. And that totally changed that color, but I think you got the gist of it. So I need to put some more into all of those, but those are all stitches. All stitches. So how's everybody doing? Are we all excited about 2020? It's interesting, we got, as I'm packing things up, I'll give you a little story time. Tonight we went to go get us something to eat from Jack in the Box. I like egg rolls. My husband likes tacos. My daughter likes chicken nuggets. Multicultural meal. Again, whole bag is stitch. Whole bag is stitch. Our total was 2020. And I said, that is a good sign right there. All right, so I'm going to pull out some more big bags here. We're kind of going in order of what I started last, just because that was the closest kind of to me. This is a bag by Be Crafty Bags. This is fabric I actually sent her. I love this fabric. And this is holding a whopping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 projects. And a Q-snap. So like I said, I do have a Q-snap in here. This has some more that I started. All right, so I think some of these, if you've been watching my weekly updates, might have seen these. A lot of these are new. This is With Thy Needle and Thread, designed by Brenda Gervais. This is Mary Hollyberries. I love that little woodland-looking Santa. I am stitching this on a piece of 36 count. Picture this plus in Mellow. They call me Mellow Yellow. And that is what I have so far. I'm liking kind of this opal, not opal, but like light golden yellow for this so far. And I am stitching that pretty much in the called for, either the DMC or the called for fancy flosses. All right, next up, we have from Little Room in the Attic on Etsy. This is Mouse King and Queen. I'm stitching this in the called for DMC. I actually just got the 2 colors of Krynic in a 1, 2, 3 stitch order right before Christmas. And then I am going to, instead of French knots, do beads. This will be my first foray into beads. I'm stitching this on a piece of 28 count even weave by Garibaldi's in Lapis that I was so lovingly gifted by Jen Upton. If you don't watch her, watch her. And here's what I have so far, and that is blowing it out. Let's get my face back in there. Let's get some better tones. So I'm loving this. This was my first piece on an even weave. And it's a good thick even weave. Now I don't know enough to know if that is Jobelin or Lugana. I don't know that. And they don't determine that. They just say even weave. So far we are holding strong with all stitches. I think I made a list. And I think if my list is correct, and we go through all these, I'm at 66 before any new year new starts. I started the year with 1 project. Okay, next up, Hands On Designs, Dear Tier. This is part of their White Christmas series. I'm loving this, so I am fairly certain that there's some other ones, like Luminary Lane is another one I really like that I might stitch sometime soon. This is on a piece of 16 count Ada by Picture This Plus in Nessie. This was a new for 2019 color. Can't wait to see the 2020 colors. I have the top tier of my tray. And I'm stitching this in the called for DMC with, yep, it's all called for DMC. As you can see, I've got a wide variety here. I've got some even weave, some Adas, some linen, some fancy flosses, some DMC. All right, this is a start since we spoke last. This is a freebie chart. This was Beth Twist of Heartstring Sampler put this chart out for free last Christmas, 2018. And this is from Christmas Carol. It's called Christmas Promise. And it says, I will honor Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I am stitching this in the called for four colors. Excuse me. 4 colors of DMC. I'm stitching this on a piece of 22 count by Mystic Fabrics in Snert. I wasn't super certain I was going to love it, but I think I do. I am stitching it with 1 floss over 1 over 1. And this is very soft. It's like a blanket. That's what I have so far. 3 little holly leaves in the front. And it is possible here in a minute we will have some pitter patter of little 1 feet and or big pitter patter of big man feet because everybody is home. It is Christmas night. I just finished filming my holiday celebration video. So if you have not watched that yet, go back over. There is a fun giveaway at the end. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, I am a Texas girl through and through. And I saw this chart when I went to Stitches from the Heart in San Antonio. And this is by Redbird Designs, and this is called Bluebonnet Joy. So you'll see it has a bluebonnet and joy, joy-filled stitcher. By the way, my name is Annie. I've had somebody call me Joy. I'll be Joy to you. Just be nice, and I'll be anything you want me to be. But I am Annie. I'm Joy's Filled Stitcher. I am stitching this on a piece of 16 count, a mystery piece from a Fabric Games from Mystic Fabrics. It's the Perfect Red. I did not want to have to buy red since I had this Perfect Red. And so far, that is what I have so far. It looks like palm tree, but that is the beginnings of the Bluebonnet. I am doing for those greens because the greens are actually called for fancy flosses I did not have. But I looked them up and they had 2 shades of DMC that kind of equated to them. So I am stitching 1 strand of each for those to kind of get subtle variegation. It's not really variegating that much, but it's okay. All right, let's see what else is in this bag. We're not there yet. All right, this was another new start here fairly recently. And this is Little House Needleworks, Bethlehem. Chart number 168. I am stitching this on a piece of 18 count mystery something from Mystic Fabrics. That was some Legos spewing in there. And I am stitching it in called for with a couple of tweaks. Because I think I wanted the angel's dress to be pink. Couple of tweaks to the sampler flosses. I have the top of E, and that is in Gentle Arts Blue Corn. So far, we're looking at a lot of stitches here. Stitch, stitch, stitch. Excuse me. I'm dropping slippery gallon-sized bags here. Let's see if we can get this all together. Alrighty. Next, let's see if we can get through this bag before bedtime. It's another new one. I do not think I have a picture of this. Let me pull up a picture, see if I can get something. If you are not familiar, or live under a rock, no, I'm just kidding, and you are not familiar with the Real Housewives of Cross Stitch, Priscilla and Chelsea, they came out with kind of a companion piece, and this is not going to be great because it is zoomed in, but they came out with one called Chicken Joy. Again, joy. And it has a precious tree and a chicken. There's Chicken Joy. And I saw somebody had posted this on their Instagram with a pink tree. So I decided I'm going to stitch Chicken Joy with pink tree. So I am stitching this on a piece of 20 count Aida in charcoal. I have literally the very beginnings of one side of the tree, the white outline of the tree. I am stitching it in the called for DMC with the exception of the pink for the tree. And I am going with what that person had recommended. And if I need to go back and see, because I think I saved their picture, who that was. Because I was like, that's genius. Because my daughter has 2 pink trees. And I have a rose gold tree. I am doing it in Weeks Dye Works Crepe Myrtle. By the way, we have some of the most beautiful crepe myrtles in our front yard. So I think it's even more fitting that it's called crepe myrtle. It's a pink tree. We have pink trees. And all that jazz. Alright, next. I think this is the last one in this bag. It is. I also do not have a picture of this one. Hold, and I will pull that up. This iPad is so much faster than my other one. I did get a new iPad for Christmas. I got it actually on Black Friday, and I was allowed to go ahead and have it. And it's life-changing. Because GoodNotes, which is the program I used, was no longer compatible with that iPad at the number 5. So I was having to use it on 4, and it was constantly crashing, especially with my larger patterns, larger charts, like my long dog and some of the other large ones. So this has been huge for me. Huge. All right, so see if I can get a bigger picture of this. That's good. All right. Come on now. All right, so I'm actually found it on Kid Stitcher's website. You might be familiar with this. This is Plum Street Samplers Rack Stack. So I am stitching Rack Stack again. I had already purchased this through Crazy Annie's on Facebook, and I am stitching it in predominantly either the Called for Fancy or the DMC equivalent. It just depends. Kind of for the deers themselves, for the rack stack, and the holly berries that are done in Classic Colorworks crab cakes. I'm pretty much sticking with the DMC other than that. I saw somebody had finished theirs already, finished it. And they were doing it on this 32 count Riviera Aqua Linen by Witchelt that I found on 123 Stitch. And when I saw hers finish, I was like, that's what I'm doing it on. Because I was having a hard time finding Mermaid's Brew, which is the called for. which is an R&R. This is stiff. You do not need a Q-snap for this. I like it, but you don't have to have it. I have some legs. That is the middle. I am pretty much a center starter, unless like on those ornaments I'm starting in the top corner. I started hoity-toity in the top corner. But for the most part, I am a center starter. So I have some little middle rack stack legs. All right, so that is it. All 7 from that project bag. Most of mine do not have this many in it, but this tends to be how my Christmas has gone. They're all in 2 bags. 3 bags, because there's the other one. Stitch. There's like 13 projects right there. All right, before we get into my Barbara Anna bag, we are going to look in this beautiful bag. This is a Kindred Stitcher Designs bag. And this houses on a Garonne tote bags. Grime Guard. This is an 8x11 Frankenstein Q-snap. I have things falling everywhere, peels. This is stitched in the impeccable Mrs. Sados silks. This is my gorgeous, if I do say so myself, Long Dog Samplers, hoity-toity. And I have, and you can't quite see, it's over here. Probably should have done this before I moved the Q-snap. I have a page 1 finish. So you can see here's the bottom of page 1. You know what, we're gonna rectify this situation. It only requires moving 1 rail. Here is my page 1 finish. Yay! So pretty. Such a beautiful design. It is inspiring a new start. New year, new start. Because I am loving this design. Everything about it. And I am loving the silks. Speaking of, go watch my holiday celebration video because silks play a huge part in that. Just saying. Stitch. And my goal, I think, for this is page 2 and 3, for sure. So the top 3 pages. It is 9 pages. Okay, so living in my Garonne tote bags, 12x18, with my Funky Witch gals, are all my Barbara Annas. So we have a fair few in here. I think roughly 9. So let's get out some pictures. Let's get ready here. God bless me. All right, so let's start with what I started last. And that is Strawberry Time. This was featured in the 2019 summer issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. Somebody had said that they affectionately called her Crowdelia, so I went ahead and said, okay, she's going to be Crowdelia for me. I love it. This is on a piece of Mystery Ada from Color and Cotton, and there's my start. Stitched in the called for DMC. So let's put that away. All right, next up, let's see what fabric comes out next. Oh, this I think is my pitiful start on Funky Bird. Probably not even worth showing. This is Funky Bird. I purchased this one off of Creative Poppy. I will say, I don't know how much detailing is going to be in the description box below. We shall see how much they allow me to have. This is my approximately 10 stitches, but this is on an insanely beautiful piece, and I misspoke about it last time. This is a 40 count Little Bunny. I called it Little Dove. No, Squirrel Welcome was on Little Dove. It's Little Bunny by XG Designs. All right, next up, this is on a piece of 32 count Oaken. And this is being stitched in the silk from the Color and Cotton mystery box. Where did that go? Okay, well, this is needlework. This is a free chart in her Facebook group. It is called the Stitcher Support for Barbara Anna Designs or something along those lines. I will try to link that below. This is a free chart in the files. And so far I have eWork. And like I said, I am stitching this in a beautiful variegated silk that was part of the Color and Cotton Harvest Mystery Box. All right, let's see what I pull next. All right, next up we have our Liberty Dog and Mouse. So these were in another issue of Primitive Stitcher. No, excuse me. Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. I will say that most all of these are now available with the rest of her patterns on Creative Poppy. These are both on 18 count Picture This Plus in Fog. So this is currently where I am on the puppy dog and the teacup. And this is where I am with the mouse. So not very much, but these are playing big time into my Barbara Ann Mondays at the turn of the year. All right, next up. This is Christmas Hair. This was another one that was in the Primitive Stitcher, Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. This is Christmas Hair. I am stitching this on a piece of 18 count Picture This Plus in Fathom. And so far I have Santa's mustard outfit. That is all we got there. All right, next up. This is on the other half of the piece of Little Bunny from X Designs, 40 count. And this is Augusta. That's what I'm calling her, but she is the Autumn Keeper. I affectionately call her Augusta. And she has an awesome wide hoop dress. And that is where she has gotten to so far. We're almost done with this bag. I say that, but we're really not. I'm not doing anything with that. I already had one that I already ditched in favor of not doing 10 starts. I decided to do 9. All right, so this is Holy Night. Again, this one was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. It was just this most recent winter issue. This is on a piece of 18 count Vintage Country Mocha. And that is what I have so far. I love that little tree with those little snow details. So cute. All right, we're almost to the end. I think I have 2 more. Okay, so next up, this is my most favorite one so far. This is Witch Ride. This is one that is also from Primitive Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, but also can be found on Creative Poppy. And my daughter is obsessed with a little stuffed pink mouse, baby mousey. And so I have lovingly called this. Now, the title I have in my notes, I'm not going to share. I'm calling it Her Name's Ride, or V's Ride, or Joy-Filled Little One's Ride. And so I am converting this completely. So what I have done so far is I have stitched her. So you can see I gave her pale skin, not as long a nose, a blue eye, blonde hair, and a pink purple dress. This is the mouse-like sweater, and these are the dots on the mouse's rear, and then it will be stitched in light pink. So I'm doing a full conversion of this for her. So she's probably going to run in here and go, what are you talking about? I heard my name. You're talking about me, aren't you? And then lastly, in this project bag, this is a very pitiful start. Like, I'm not even sure which way is up on this. But I did want to go ahead and get this one started. This is one of her newer designs. This is Santa's Flight. A lot of these go under hashtag Tiny Rider Sal, which is one that Michelle Garrett, Michelle Garrett, and Amy Baruch do the hashtag Tiny Rider Sal. So that is my start, and this is on 32 count Sea Lily. This is the called for fabric, and I found it on 1, 2, 3 stitch. So I have to go back through and reorganize that later. So I just kind of shoved it all in here, but it's lovingly protected by the flat closure of this bag. So these are all stitched, and we are down 1 bucket out of a lot of buckets. All right, so next up, Stitchonomy Winter Sal. It is living on a Q-snap. I don't know, folks. I do not know. I'm not feeling drawn to it. She's got another one called Houseplants, Homely Houseplants. Looks kind of intriguing. Most of her sals are free. Alyssa is her name. Stitchonomy. It lives in a pouch of mine. It is currently being stitched with a palette of Color and Cotton Blues. I have a bucket over here, and I think it's going in it. In fact, I'm almost certain. Let me take this needle out. All right, we are going to call this. Let me take this needle out. Put it right there. Our first stitch. Bye bye. I have more of that pink fabric. Don't fret. I can use it for something else. first stitch. All right, next up, Living in this Diddly Daddle Designs in Hand Stitcher bag. This is my Advent candle ornaments. Called for DMC, 40 count Malo linen by Zweigert. So far I have Hope, maybe 3/4 done, Peace, the Word. I fell off big time, guys. I fell off big time. I got busy doing other things. Joy, and then here should be Love or Faith, I think that, and then we have Christ. So I've fallen off on these, but these will get done fully finished before next Advent. Stitch. All right. It's a beautiful So Much to Love project bag. She calls this her Japanese chrysanthemums print. And in here lives my heartstring samplery Whip It Good. This is a great charity chart. If you are at all interested, please head over to her Etsy. I will link it below. I think she's only selling this through the end of the year. And then it'll be like, it'll go away and then it'll eventually maybe be released. I don't know that for a fact though. So go over there. I'm stitching this in 2 colors of Victoria Motto. I'm stitching this in Vintage Quaker, which is roughly $38.49, and Arbor Roses. And I'm stitching this on a piece of light beige 20 count Aida 1/1 by Barbara Creations. And so I'm doing the letters and a couple of little motifs in the blue, and then all of the rest will be in the pink, the dark pink. So I have Whip It. Whip It Good. Use Whip It when a problem comes along. This is a beautiful bag, by the way. It's purple on the inside. This is a stitch. I love it. And I'm going to turn that into a project bag when I am done. Or send it to somebody to turn it into a project bag. All right. Next up, there is actually nothing in here because I have not yet started. I was about to say cast on. Listen to me in my knitting. Started next year's ornaments. I just gave them to my mom today. She loved them. So I will be doing giraffes and one of them from chart 2. But this is all my supplies. Lives in a Be Crafty bag. It has all the fabric already in here, which is the 36 count Stars Hollow blend from R&R. Has my bits of bob. And so this is obviously a stitch. I don't have an active whip in there currently. I will. All right, living in this project bag, it does say Emerald City Cell. It's not. I have 2 projects. Two. The first of which is Thankful and Grateful Chalk, my hands-on designs. This is on a 36 count slate linen. I have Thankful and Gray. This one is a stitch. Put it away. And then we've also got in here Squirrel's Delight by Lucy Beam. This was in a punch needle and primitive stitcher. This is on a piece of what? 40 count Legacy Pictures Plus. And I have Rels. I have Rels. And that's a stitch. So those are both stitches. I like both of those. They just don't have very much in them. Those were during the early days of Start All things. All right, let me move these back down here. Alrighty, so then we've got in here Needle Stance. This is the collaboration between Summer House Stitchworks, Ink Circles, and Hands On Designs. And I will tell you, I had some of this stitched on a piece of 16 count Aida from Ship's Manor. I decided to abandon that, and I will be restarting this in the new year on the called for French, is it French Blue? Or Blue Moon? It's a Witcholt. I don't know what it is, but this lives in a pouch with the fabric that Misty sent my kit with. And I am stitching it in the kit flosses and colored cotton. And I will be restarting that. I didn't like it on the Aida I had selected. So, that is a stitch. We're going to get a couple more done, and then we're going to take a pause break. Alright, so next up, Lizzie Kate's My To-Do List. And this lives in a So Much, no. Love You More Studio Co-pouch. This is being stitched on a piece of 16 count Aida Bi-Color Cotton in Sea Breeze. I'm doing my own color conversion on this, and I am not far from being done. As far as I know, I have to look at my chart, but I have a motif here, a motif here, the border, and then the main part at the top. This, my to-do list for today, a motif here, the big floral motif, and the border. And then I'm done. I keep saying that like that's something easy. This is a part of my goals, is to get this done pretty early in the year. I do not have a project birthday other than temperature quilt, but I don't count that because I can't even finish that until we hit a high temp on the 31st. My next, like my first project with a birthday is Quilting Bee, and I believe it's in April. So I'm doing pretty good in that respect. All right, living in this project bag. Oh, this is a tricky one. This I think is going to be a ditch. This is Plum Street Samplers Mary's sampler. I chose originally when I started this to stitch the more spread out version. I think that was a mistake. This is in the called for fancy flosses and DMCs. I don't know. I like it, but I didn't even pull it out for Christmas stitching. Everything's just so far apart. I mean, I have a fair bit of progress, but it's not really I can like finish. I don't even have Mary and Joseph on there yet. I don't know. It's on an 18 count Ada from Mystic Fabrics. I think I probably would have liked it actually if I'd stitched the one that was fuller, because then you don't have to count as far. I had goofs, I had mess ups on this. Doesn't even live in a nice project bag. Is that a sign? Okay, I'm gonna put this in my, we're gonna come back to it in a bit pile. All right, next up. I think this is gonna be a ditch. I think it may be past the stash because I'm majorly goofed on it and I really don't want to finish it. And I don't want to frog it. Okay, this is Little House Needleworks Strawberries. This was a series they did with all different fruits. It actually is the Crescent Color pack. I got this off of Stash Unload. I am doing this on the 20 count Ada and Petty Point. This bunny should have had his ears under this flower. I don't want to frog him. And I have no interest in finishing him. And I love this little strawberry motif. If I frogged him, I could finish him. Okay, we're going to come back to it. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to think if there's something I can do to get it finished. We're approaching bedtime here for the little person. So, all right. 2 more show. All right, this is Lila's Studios. This is her Dinah's Garden Strawberries. I think she also has blueberries for this one. I'm stitching this in the Called for Fancy Flosses. And this is on a piece of Silk Weavers, 14 count Ada and Ray of Light. It's going to be huge. It's back in my 14 count days. And I think it's adorable. But I'm not going to finish it. I'm going to pass the stash on this one. So if you're interested, when all is said and done, when I get ready to a video sometime in January, I will show all my past the stashes. And if you're interested, we'll figure out a situation there. So this is a ditch. This lives in a pouch by me, but I will be pulling it out and keeping the pouch. I will keep the pouches unless I'm just like, no, I'll pass it on. All right, next up. This is from Darling and Whimsy Designs on Etsy. This is Forget Me Not. I just need to finish this. This is, this was my tribute piece. And this is on a beautiful piece of 18 count from Mystic Fabrics. And I have Forget, and then My Dear. So I just need to finish it. It's not an intricate set. I love this. I love this piece. She has some other ones I love, but I can't buy anymore until I finish something. I say that, but then I'm like, oh, look at what all I got today. Okay, so this is a stitch. A stitch and a finished stand. All right, so we're going to take a pause break, and I'll be back soon. We're back. I have moved some things around. I have pulled my cart closer so we can do the next round. As you can remember, I have ditched 2, shown a significant number. I have 2 that are question marks, so we will come back to those. Let's see where we can get for the rest of this evening. This is in no particular order. It's just how I'm going to pull it out of this cart. Oh, this is a, never mind. That's in the wrong spot. That should be on the second shelf. That is not a current WIP. That is a new start. I think this one is too. Yep, this one is too. There will be some of these shown at the end of this video, but I am not showing them now. So is this one. So I clearly have some things put where they don't belong. All right, so now we're moving and grooving again. Okay, so next step, we have my Heaven and Earth designs. This is Quick Stitch Tranquil Tulips, artwork by Hannah Disney. This is my only official Heaven and Earth design. I have 2 others, like, not kitted, not anything. I'm stitching this on 18 count easy grid, and this is what I have so far. This is a Garonne Toten Bags 11 by 11 Q-snap cover. That'd be a grime guard. Sorry, I have a sneeze brewing. It's causing my brain to go a little funky. Is it coming? Oh, it's the worst feeling. Excuse me. And back in November, he sent with one of my orders this like wooden nickel needle minder. So it's kind of helping me to semi-park. This is not a project that needs a ton of parking because it works in these striated diagonal bands. So anyway, this lives on an 8 by 11 Q-snap. It lives in a sweater bag from Container Store. And I do have my flosses in a Floss Buddy 90 pocket. This is not the Pro, this is just the 90 pocket, but it does have the scissor holder and the pen slot or highlighter slot. And that is the color palette. And I did order this one from her. I did this one over the summer, and she does a little bit of a payment plan. I don't know if she's still doing that, but it's worth it. I also have a fairly large order that I placed during Michelle Garrett's live sale back at the beginning of November that should come to me at some point, so it'll be a surprise when it does. Alright, this is a Diddly Daddle Designs bag. This is the standard size. And living in here is my Playing with Jacks by the Cricket Collection. And I am doing specifically, I am swapping out the freebie chart that's available on their website that is the forest pumpkin for the middle jack-o'-lantern. And I am stitching this on a piece of 32 count Picture This Plus linen in Valor. And I have not touched this since I think November. And I have most of the center motif. This is done in both the colors. This one needs the light purple color. And then the inside needs to be filled in. So I love this. This is a for sure stitch. So is Tranquil Tulips. It may take me a bajillion years, but I love it. I love the vibrant colors, and I'm not getting rid of it yet. And this has my cute funky spider Bitsy Bob from that So Kelly Co. So this is a stitch. All right, this is a So Much to Love. This is my fancy squirrel bag, and it's been living in my cart. And this holds my autumn drum. So this is a Acorns and Threads exclusive, the Blue Flower autumn drum, not acorn drum, autumn drum. And I am stitching this with the kit flosses on the 40 count R&R that is called for. And this is beautiful silks also. This is my first 40 count. I started this the 1st of October. I have almost all. The only thing I don't have is the over 1. I will do that because that will be my initials and the date. And I have started on the border. So this is the top. And then they give you a second piece of linen for the around piece. I do think I will finish this into a drum. I've seen some other cute finishes, but I think I want it in a drum. And I probably will have somebody professionally finish this one in a drum. And it'll list in this adorable bag. This is one that Erin, Chi Martini Stitcher, and I have bag twins. Alright, that is a new start. Does not need to be in this segment of the video. I don't know where this bag came from, but I got this bag from a seller on Instagram. And it's a cute bag charm. And this one holds my letters from Nora Corbett, V Fairy. I am doing some color converting on this, and this is on a piece of 18 count Mystic Fabrics. It is an unnamed, and I have so far stitched her dress, the 2 colors of her dress, and her skin, and it does have some fractionals. Her skin's a little bit hard to see, but there will be back stitching. I have also done the bottom portion of her face. I am charting this closer to my daughter's skin tone, as well as with blonde hair. And this will be, I'm hopeful for a finish on this before her birthday at the end of January. We'll see. It's debatable, but this is for sure stitch. Okay, living in, oh, I know what's in here. And this is going to be tricky because I just got those beautiful silks. But this is Al Forest Embroideries, Emerald City Sal. I had a thought, with the exception of the Emerald City, I almost feel like this could be really cool, stitched like the characters on perforated paper and turned into stand-ups, and do the Emerald City as a stand-up. I don't know. I don't know if they make perforated paper that large. I don't know about that. I haven't figured that out. This on a piece of 16 count. Picture This Plus in Nessie. I am stitching this for the second time. If you go and watch that video where I talked about my giveaway, my subscriber celebration, this is my second go round of this. First time was on 14 count, didn't love it. It was a big 14 count. It was real open. I ended up ordering some of the Al Forest flosses, and so I have restarted it for the second time. And I have not worked on this in quite some time. So I am thinking this is going to be a ditch, but a not ditch forever. This is a free stitch along. I believe it is still available on Al Forest Embroideries website. So I think I'm going to pass the stash on this and pass along my Al Forest embroidery. And if I do restart it, it will be with the Mrs. Sados silks. And, or I might stitch something else Wizard of Oz related with those silks as well. So this is a ditch for now. A ditch for now. A ditch in that incarnation. This is a Garonne Totten Bags. This was my very first one. It has gotten me addicted. This is my Downton Abbey bag. And it holds my Downton Abbey piece. This is from, I can't remember what the seller is. I'll link it below. Or just message me if you're really interested and I can give it to you. But it is a seller on Etsy. This is on a piece of 18 count Picture This Plus in Sprite. I believe it's Sprite. It's kind of a light pinky lavender. And that's what I have so far of Downton Abbey. I started this on September 20th, the day the movie came out. And I love it. This is a stitch. A stitch. And I am stitching in the called for DMC. We're doing pretty good here. We're trucking along. All right. This is a So Much to Love project bag. This is one that was exclusive to Crazy Annie Stitchers. And living in it is Annie B's Folk Art, Count Your Blessings. This is on a piece, excuse me, my voice is kind of catching. I am doing a complete, sorry, I got a little sidetracked. I believe this is on a piece of 18 count. There we go. I think it's the same 18 count that Bethlehem is on, that is from Mystic Fabrics. So far I have part of the house and part of some pants. They called for like clothing or blue or something, and so I was like, oh, I need some more blue. Okay, the pants. I'm doing a complete color and cotton conversion on this one. I will eventually share that as soon as I'm done with it. All right, so that actually, I think, is the top of this cart. We're getting close, folks. Those first few were kind of a lot of things. Now, granted, I do have some that I am not showing you right this minute. That is because we are going to see them when I talk about some new starts. Hold please while I rearrange some cards. Okie dokie. I'm back. I've rearranged carts. I am ready to go on the last and final section of this cart to talk about active current whips. And we are talking about hashtag stitch or ditch. That is the hashtag that I saw Debbie from Creatively Yours using in her latest, her WIP Parade end of year whips, and talking about plans. I don't know if she originated it. I haven't had a chance to watch the video, but I did see her. She had a cute headband hat thing on. It was really cute. All right, so living in a Garon tote bag. This is my Batbird bag with my cardinal Batbirds. This was an oops. Living in here is my Big Toe Designs. This is Prince of Peace. I am stitching this on a piece of 36 count under the sea fabrics in autumn. And I am stitching in 2 colors. The greenish gray, which is this, which I believe is Gentle Arts Deep Forest, is the called for. I was right, Deep Forest. And then instead of the barn red, I think, or something along those like country redwood, which was way too deep red, I chose a brighter rose instead. But that will not come into play for a bit. And I have not spent near enough time on this. This has a grime guard for Garon tote bags. And I know I probably say it different every time I say it. I'm going to get it right one of these days. I love those 2 gentlemen. They are fantastic. This is a stitch. All right, another. Seeing a theme. Garon tote bags. I have a thing for a couple of bag designers. All right, living in here. It just moved in last week after my showing, after Friday. Is Prairie Schooler Christmas Tree Farm. And I'm doing a complete funky as all get out color conversion on this. This is an Under the Sea Fabrics 18 count Ada in Ice Princess, which is a perfect like snowy blue. And this is where I am. So as you can see, looks nothing like the original picture. I love this version, but I love this one more. Because I can't imagine stitching 11 houses. No, it's not 11. 9 houses in red, plus a red car, a red fox, a red Santa, and a red truck. That would make my head go hurt. I know that's not a proper English sentence. That's okay. If you have not been with me for very long, you will know that we just roll how we roll here. And we do the best we can. And we make do. We do, you do you, I do me. We're all going to be just wonderful peachy keen. And this one I just had to have. I mean, it's a Christmas tree forest with a red truck. It's a perfect project, right? For a project, perfect bag. And it had a great bag, but it needed that bag. My voice is going, so we're going to keep on trekking. So Much to Love. It's a Paris patterned bag, and it holds my ink circles Rosetta piece, which I have not shown. I don't think I showed it this past Friday. I am stitching this in a color conversion of my own choice, and I will share it in the end after I get it all figured out, of a rainbow color of Gentle Arts. All of the borders will be in cinders, and it has a Garon tote bags grime guard. And this is what I have so far, and this is on a piece of 20 count Opalescent Smirt by Mystic Fabrics. I just love it. Every time I see it, I love it. See, in some of these, I'm like, I really want to stitch on them, but I'm going to New York for 5 days. I can't take these. These are too much. I'm taking small things, smaller things, or things with pieces like ornaments, things like that. I will tell you the things that are going. That's a stitch. The things that are going are Plum Streets, 12 Days, just the first one, the Partridge and the Pear Tree. I am taking the Satsuma Street 12 Days of Christmas. I am going to put some more tinting into that tonight so that I can have some mindless stitching on plain. And then the Doreen Jones Nativity. All right, so next up we have, and I don't have a picture of this, but this is my family travel map. And this is on a piece of 18 count Mystic Fabrics in Big Sky. And this is our USA map. And in fact, oh, this reminded me, this needs to go because I want to stitch, I want to fill in New York while we're in New York. Now, we've traveled lots of places since my daughter was born. And so this will get filled in a lot. And then I've considered, like, the first time, because we've been to, like, San Francisco 3 times. We've been to San Diego. So we've been several places in California. So California's going to get filled in. But I'm considering, like, doing beads or buttons or charms. Like, I thought about maybe finding a charm for where we go and stitching those on. In fact, that's a great idea, and I need to add that to my list. I like that. And I am using a mystery color and cotton, kind of a navy black, for all the outlining. So I need to figure out what I want to stitch the Big Apple in and take that with me. All right, so this one lives in a kind of Route 66 pouch that I sewed up. And that is a keep, and I put it with my travel stuff. All right, this is a Love You More Studio Co pouch. This one holds Plum Street Samplers, Harvest Delivery. That fabric is wrong because I swapped the fabric. Here's actually a better picture. I love that. I have a snippety that matches. Perfect. So that's that beautiful Tula. I am using the Victorian Motto thread set. I believe she still has these. Check her website. And I have moved this over to a what? To a what? Did I write it down? Probably not. Yes, I did. 36 count Veterus from Mystic Fabrics. And Veterus is very similar to, very similar but a little bit more spectacular than Picture This Plus Legacy. It's a great parchment color. So that's what I got so far. I love this fabric much more for this project. That was a good thought on my part to swap the fabric because I was not loving it. I was not wanting to pull it. Stitch. All right, next up, this is a focus piece early in the year. This is my Quilting Bee by the Blue Flower. It's on a 16 count Picture This Plus in Heartland. This was a new color. The bee herself, the queen quilting bee herself, is nearly done. She has a bit more on this wing, and then I can start working on all the Quaker motifs all around. I have Sleeping Bee, but I'm not starting Sleeping Bee until this bee is done. In fact, Sleeping Bee will probably be a 2021. But we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. It depends on how much. Oh, and this lives in a pouch, a Tula pouch that I sewed, and that's a stitch. All right, next up, this is a Kathy pouch. Kathy sent this to me. She is a wonderful, wonderful lady who watches my videos. And so this is Blackbird Designs. This is the birthday stocking right here from the By the Chimney with Care. These are the 3 stockings for January. I am doing a color and cotton conversion on this piece. And this is a mystery piece from Color and Cotton. And I have a bit of the cake in the middle. And that's all she wrote for right now. But I would like to get this finished soon. It's a cute little birthday stocking. It's going to be for my daughter. It'd be nice if it was done by her birthday in January. We'll see. Alright, this is for sure a stitch. Oh, that was for sure a stitch. I'm not sure about this one until I pull it out. This is from Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts. This is the Autumn Sampler Band. Excuse me, Autumn Sampler Banner. I'm doing a Victorian Motto conversion on this. And this is on a piece of Veterus from Mystic Fabrics. And I have one Beautiful Tree. I'm not loving it. This is going to go in my Think About It pile that we're going to come back to. And this lives in a Tula fabric pouch by me. So we've got 3 in our Think About It pile. Let's put those there. Alright, next up. I think this is another one for the Think About It, or possibly just the ditch. I have a picture of it? Yes, I do. This is from Tempting Tangles. This is Echoing Evergreens. This was stitched in 3 colors of Dinky Dyes. This lives in a Love You More Studio Co pouch. This is actually on a piece of 18 count from Under the Sea Fabrics. It is an opalescent, and it is actually evergreen. So that is where the evergreen is coming in. I think this is the way it goes. And I am choosing to use a palette of 3 colors that are not green. and then one for my initials in the sampler. So this is my palette. That's my palette. Okay, this is a think about it. Or think about it while scrolling. That's boring, think about it. Alright, so then we've got this adorable in-hand stitcher from Diddly Daddle Designs. This holds Pomegranate Quaker. And this actually came out not too long ago, and I had already made some determinations about this. So this is from Al Forrest Embroidery, Pomegranate Quaker. And I had decided the last time we talked that I am going to just stitch the large, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think there's 7 that I'm planning to stitch. Yes, there's 7 or 8. I can't remember exactly how many I'm wanting to stitch of the larger, the actual like pomegranate looking things. I am using the Al Forrest thread pack that I ordered from them. And this is on a piece of Mystic Fabrics 14 count in Mother Nature. And I had thought this was going to be a ditch. And then I pulled it out for a project because it needed to be red. And I loved it. But I decided that in lieu of doing the whole piece as one large piece, doing it as ornaments. Or smalls of some kind. So that is what I'm going to be doing. So this is a stitch. This is actually on my Whipgo board. So, and we'll talk more about plans later. That's a stitch. Okay, so next up, this is a Slovak farm bag. And living in here are a couple. First up is, this is Hands-On Designs, Joy. And this was from the 2017 Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament. So that's that. And I am stitching it in Classic Colorworks that matches similar to the weeks. And this is on a piece of 32 count Phoenix. I believe 32 count is what I ended up with. And I have part of an O. Part of an O, an O that's blowing it out. So I love it. It will be a stitch. Some of these small ones are going to come in handy when my brain starts hurting from the big projects. And so this will be nice to have. And it really does stitch up quickly. I think that was like a 45-minute stitching session, if that, to get those 100 or so stitches in there. So yeah, it'll come quick. Okay. Put that back in there. And then also in here, I don't think this has actually even been started. Hold on. We may not be talking about this. No, this has not been started. It will be. But this is the next in the chalk. I will probably start this when I finish Thankful Grateful. So it's a stitch. It's just not an active stitch. But it's living in the same bag. So it is what it is. Stitch. Okay. Next up. Okay. This is, I think it's going to be a keep. This is one, this is with Needle and Thread by Bridget Gervais. Strawberries and Stripes. I stitched this as a swap last year, and then I restarted it for myself, and I was already burnt out on it. So there's a minuscule start in this. I think it goes like that, maybe. 18 count Mystic in kind of a bluish gray. This is a stitch. In a gallon size baggie. Alright, another Diddly Daddle. This is an in-hand stitcher size. And in here is my Artist Design. Better picture, maybe, yes I do. This is Acorn Assortment. It's based on a old, like 16th century tile design. I am doing a bit of a conversion to some awesome Victorian motto flosses. My favorite of which is All the Green is going to be Squash on the Vine. Might be like my favorite green ever. And this is on a piece of, just saw the card, I think it's an 18 count. Let me see if I'm right. Yep, 18 count Snert from Mystic Fabrics. And that is what I have so far. Love it. I need to get that finished. Fun. This will be a fun one to pull out as we get closer and I can have it finished for autumn. And it lives in a cute little acorn pouch. That's a stitch. Well, let me pull these things out and put some things back in because my pile is going to topple in a minute and then that's just going to be no bueno. I'm going to have a lot of cleanup to do when I get back from out of town. Oh well. And then we'll talk some new starts when we get back too. That'll be fun. This will be a two-parter. If you were not paying attention at the beginning, it's possible you weren't, because I talk. Okay, this lives in a pouch my daughter painted for me. And as much as I love the pouch, the project I think is a ditch. And that is the Pride and Prejudice Mini Sal from Sapphire Mountain Handicrafts. I have pride and the project will be a ditch. The pouch will not be. So this will be one I can pass off the flosses and the fabric to somebody and just send it to you if you want it. Okay, next up, this lives in a Diana It Is Kismet Stitches for Eclectic Possessions on Facebook. Little half-size pouch. I somehow managed to snag. And this is my Plum Street Samplers Gobble Gob. So now I have two trios. Stitching in called for, but with some swap-ins for the weeks. God bless me. And one DMC for White Lightning or whatever it was. And this is on a 32 count. Oaken. Picture this plus oaken. We have one full turkey and the bottom half of another turkey. Part of the bottom half of another turkey. And I dropped my cover image on the floor. And my nose is starting to run away with itself. Last one. And it will be my first hopeful finish of 2020. And that is my temperature quilt by @HettyRuckert on Instagram. She has it on her blog. I will link it one more time, but it will not be today. It will not be in this video. I will, well, maybe. We'll see. 18 count opalescent white Ada. And I have, this is December to here, up until through the 27th, and then we've got 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. So there's one more full cycle representing the last 4 days of the year. Now what I have not decided is if those last 4 days, some of those last 4 days, 28th, 29th, 30th, will be represented by Fort Worth temperatures or New York temperatures. I'm not sure about that. I will report back on that. And this lives in a pouch by me, which I'm sure I can find some other project when this is done to go in this precious rainbow raindrop. So here ends the WIP Parade. So if you're cool, like, hey whips, yay, I'm done, woohoo, woohoo, whips. Cool. If you want to see some of the things I'm starting right at the beginning of the year, hang tight. Also, there's one more start on the 31st, which is when this video will go live, that I will also show before at the beginning of the starts portion. And then we're going to chat some plans. So this will be a long one, but this is the end of the whips. So see you in a minute for the next segment. Hello, my friends. I am back with part 2 of this video, which who knows how long this is going to end up being. But this is the portion of the video where I'm going to talk a little bit about some plans, some starts, I'm going to also revisit some of those whips. You'll notice we've had a costume change. That is because this is the second filming session for this video. We are back from New York. There will be more of that information, a little life update in my Friday video. So let's get right down to it. So first thing I'd like to do is welcome you back. Again, I'm Annie, and I'm, I don't know why I'm doing this. It's in the same video. Anyhow, if you're just joining me for this portion of the video, awesome. If you have watched all the way through all of my whips, you will see that I have decided to stitch or ditch. I've decided to stitch far more than I've decided to ditch. However, I had a few that I said I was going to revisit. Well, I've had 6 days, 7 days, few days since I filmed that. So I feel like it's time that we now address these WIPs as stitch or ditch. And we're going to make some hard decisions today, because some of these are not going to travel past 11:59 p.m. this evening. They're going to go in a bucket on the floor. And then later on in the month, we will do some pass the stash on whatever. I know for sure I have 4 projects I have decided to already ditch. So we got a couple more to chat about. So let's do that. I'm housing these in a tote bag. So the first one that I kind of was on the fence about is, or was, and still am, Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts Autumn Sampler Banner. And I just saw she released Winter. I think Winter's really pretty. I just am not feeling it. So I don't know if that means I need to just ditch it or give it some time. Like maybe autumn stitching's not my jam right now. So I have one pitiful little tree. This is on a great piece of Veterus fabric from Mystic Fabrics. I mean, I clearly have enough where if I even decided today, like, hey, I'm not going to do it, I've got enough for some ornaments, if I, you know, kind of strategically, or I can easily frog that. Goodness, okay. I'm going to think about it. Let me look at my color palette and see, because I had gotten some Victorian mottos for this. This is what it's going to look like finished. A close-up one. I mean, it's got squirrels. It's got acorns, got some trees, some leaves. It says autumn. It says harvest ends and we give thanks. These are my colors. I mean, they're not going to go to waste. I'll put them back in my stash. Okay. We're ditching it. We're ditching it and we're going to repurpose the fabric. One day when I'm not feeling the stitching, I will frog it. So we are ditching, and this is one that I will be repurposing. Done. Take it off the list. Okay, next up. This one's tough too. This Echoing Evergreens. I have pretty much ditched like all of my Tempting Tangles, with the exception of this one so far. So this is Echoing Evergreens. If you'll remember from previously in the video, it's on a really pretty piece of Under the Sea fabrics. And I am doing a, I don't even know which way is up. I mean, I would if I looked at the pattern. I'm doing a color conversion on this. I love the fabric. I think I'm going to put it in kind of my timeout pile for right now. And if at the end of the month it has not seen any time, then I think at that point it will be a ditch. I think that's where we're going with that. So, as it may call to me again, because those flosses are so pretty and that fabric is so pretty. Okay, let's see. What else we got? I can't remember. I had pulled this and I could not remember if I had decided this was the Little House Needlework Strawberry. And I think this was the first one that I was like, I'm on the fence, I'm on the fence. I just love that strawberry motif. I'd already determined I wasn't going to stitch where I think it says strawberries down here. I'm afraid when I frog this, because I'm kind of a tight stitcher, that's going to leave holes. You're going to be able to see. I'm a hemming and hawing too much. Okay, I'm going to put this one in timeout, and if it has no time on it before the end of the month, then it will go in the permanent ditch pile. It's in temporarily. It's not fully in the ditch. It's just partially in the ditch. Alright, then we've got Mary Sampler. And I really thought this was going to be a ditch, but I saw somebody who had finished it. This was my Mary Sampler. I'm not ditching it. I had an idea when I went back and watched, because I went back and watched my WIP Parade to see just how snot-filled and cough-licious and all of that it was. I watched it this morning when I was awake at 4:55 because I was on Eastern Standard Time. I'm Central Standard Time. I thought, okay, here's what I want to do. I'm going to finish out the whole border. Hopefully it will meet. Hopefully it will meet. And then I think it'll be easier to do the remainder of the motifs. I really do like this. I'm not ready to give up on this. This is going to be a stitch with a new effort to it, meaning to start and complete the border. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, stitch. All right, so that's everything in there. So we had one additional ditch, so I think we have 5 ditches. All right, so here's what we're going to chat about today. Let me toss those over there too. We're going to talk. I have some papers. We're going to talk plans. I do have my 24 hours of cross stitch binder. However, these items are going to be moving into a happy planner very soon. I have the big happy planner cover. I have the rings. I also have a classic happy planner rings. And so I am contemplating, I think it was Sammy J of Sammy J Stitches who talked about if you want to print like a full size sheet, like this size sheet, you do like 84%. I'm going to go back because it was in one of her videos or it was in one of the groups or something. And I'm going to go ahead and print this back out to go in my classic size happy planner. And that's just going to make more sense to me. This binder is huge. So yeah. So kind of moving forward into January tomorrow, some things that I'm participating in for sure. Some other things are still up in the air. I'm feeling very overwhelmed. And I've noticed that there's quite a call of people who are like, I don't know how to make all the cold challenge groups work because I want to participate in everything. I know that I saw a post about it and was like, please explain to me how you can make this fit in with this and this and this and this and this and this. And that's how I'm feeling. I'm feeling that there's a lot of great options out there, but I'm also feeling compelled to KISS. That's what I'm going to call it, is KISS. I've had many a mentor in my teaching career that subscribe to the KISS. Keep it simple, sweetheart. It could also be keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, sweetheart. And I need to keep it more simple. I loved in December the couple of weeks that I didn't super heavily focus in any of the challenge groups. I did what fit, but then I also worked on what I wanted to work on. And I think that's what's going to lead me, at least in the beginning of 2020. So I know for a fact, I love the premise behind Jessie Marie of Jessie Marie Does Stuff, her Whipgo. And I had started my own Whipgo board. When did I start that? Over the summer, I think. I had created one, but it never really worked out because, like I said, I was so focused on School of Magical Stitches and then Enchanting Stitching Challenges when I started that in October that I really didn't give that the justice that it deserved. So I knew for sure I was going to be fully committed to that. And I thought it would be a great way for me to push myself to some finishes and some FFOs on some things. And so what I did was I put I numbered all of my whips on my whip list, and I just had a random number generator, and I started just generating numbers. And as a number came up, I put that in square one of my Whipgo board. What I noticed was a lot of my newer projects, my projects started later, so the higher numbered ones were coming up. So then what I did was about halfway through filling my board, I just did random number generator 1 through 20. So it would really get my and I don't think I even did 1 through 20 because 1 is temperature quilt. And so that's going to get done no matter what because I want that one done. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm going to fill in with some of these that are higher up on, lower numbers, meaning they need to get done because their birthdays are approaching. And so I filled in my board with those, and I need to go back and check my board because I'm hopeful that nothing I decided to ditch is on that board. I don't think so. I think it was kind of questionable. I did not put it on that board. So she, 2 days ago, I think, the 27th, so a couple of days ago, she drew the 2 numbers for January, the 2 focus projects for January, and that was number 6 and number 12. And my number 6 is Harvest Delivery by Plum Street Samplers, which I've already shown in this video. And my number 12 is Prairie Schooler Tree Farm, which I'm excited about both of those projects. And so both of those projects, the goal is a finish. I do not think I will hit a finish in January. But what's great is once they're called, if I finish them in April, then I can recolor my box. So I love that. And I've set up some goals for myself. I am going to do Stitch from Stash. I have quite a number of subscriptions, and I know that those don't really count. I had them all set up anyway. So I am tentatively setting my Stitch from Stash to $25 a month. So beyond my subscriptions, which I do have a fabric subscription to Floss, I have several Floss ones, but the reason why I do that too is that if I'm designing things, I want to be able to give it from readily accessible. Like I can't really I don't really feel comfortable designing things with Victorian Motto limited edition flosses, and I love those for my personal projects. So I am going to continue to keep that. I will have eventually the full color and cotton, the full classic colorworks, and the full gentle arts, because I'm doing 2 of them through Nest Egg and 1 of them through Threads Entwined. And I'll use them in my own projects, but I'll also use them in things I'm, tentatively contemplating design, like my own designs that I might eventually release to you guys. So those won't necessarily count. I do have a couple of fabrics of the month, but I did whittle those way down. I also went with a lot more kind of neutrals. So my Stitch from Stash will be like, if I decide one month I really want to participate in fabric games, then I'm going to probably get like 1 cut of fabric that month, and that's going to be it. I have a lot of fabric. If you've watched any of my videos, you will see I have a lot of fabric compiled, things of that nature. So what I have decided is, for a straight line bingo, either horizontal, vertical, or diagonal, I will allow myself a $25 Stitch from Stash credit, meaning that will get put into my bank, so to speak, my stitching bank. For a 4 corners, I love bingo, by the way, so I know lots of different bingos, but for a 4 corners bingo, that will also be a $25 Stitch from Stash. For a postage stamp, that will be the $25. Now, granted, that's the first of any of those. I feel like as the game goes on and you've got more, it's easier to get line bingos and things, it'll probably drop down at that point. Like, I'll adjust my goals and be like, oh, my reward for, or not adjust my goals, my reward for, say, like, after I've gotten 2 line bingos, my reward for 4 corners might be like $5. So I'm fairly certain, because that cut me off at like 13-ish minutes, and I'm not filming to YouTube, that I hit capacity on some kind of memory or something. I don't know. So I went in and I realized that somehow it's decided to populate like a ton of old pictures and things into my iPad. Whatever. So, but I had a lot of videos that I had done clips and then into iMovie. So I had full movie also. So I went and deleted a bunch of clips. So hopefully we're okay. So what I was saying is, with my Stitch from Stash, the first line bingo, or the first 2 line bingos, will get me the $25 Stitch from Stash. And then from that point forward, I feel like it'll be like an additional $5. Like every time I get like a line or a postage stamp or whatever, it won't be $25, because that defeats the whole purpose. But then ultimately, for a full blackout, which I don't know if I'll hit it, we'll see. I've set some fairly lofty goals for myself, but with the amount of WIPs I have and the things that I'm wanting to work on, my ultimate blackout, I believe, if I remember correctly, is $100 credit for Stitch from Stash. And what I feel like that's going to help me with is, 1, to use the things that I have, because I've got some gorgeous fabrics, gorgeous flosses. And I even tonight was pulling some things for, that I had realized apparently I'm starting tomorrow, but I hadn't ever pulled fabric or floss. Duh. Christmas got in the way. All right, so I think that's enough talking about Whipgo. That's kind of one of my main ones. One of my other main ones that I am doing for myself is I have all those Barbara Anna starts. And I alluded to this when I was talking about it and when I've been talking about the projects throughout the month of December. But I got all those started because on Mondays, I am doing #BAM, B-A-M, Barbara Anna Mondays. And so on that Monday, I have a wheel on my Tiny Decisions app. And I'm going to spin my wheel, and whatever comes up is what I'm going to stitch on for either 30 minutes to an hour that day. And so just over time, build up on each of those projects. And I am going to do a wheel like blackout, meaning so once it's been picked on a Monday, it won't get called again until they've all been called. And also they can be used, I can also focus on them on other days. I'd also contemplated using it as my lunchtime stitching for the whole week, meaning when I call it on a Monday, then obviously this Barbara Anna Monday, it's my decision for lunch stitching that week. I haven't decided how that's going to work out yet, so that was another thought. And then as a project gets finished, it gets removed off the wheel, and so things can start to kind of populate sooner. We'll see. Some of them are larger, some of them are smaller, some of them I have more in, like Funky Bird's pitiful and has 10 stitches. And so it's going to be a bit more, and it's a more involved project. It's also on linen, like 40 count, and so it's not as quick a stitch. Okay. So Barbarita Mondays is going to be for the whole of the year. I am going to attempt as many 24 hours of cross stitch acrostics, monthly acrostics, which I have the full year. I am going to do it month by month because obviously some WIPs will change, WIPs will come and go, meaning hopefully some things start to get finished and get off my list. So there's that. These are my for sures. There's some other events throughout the year that I'm excited to maybe look into, but my for sures are those. Now, I am not going to participate in School of Magical Stitches, at least at this point. My brain hurts from it. And I know it's not meant to, and this is not a diss on anybody, but for some reason my head is not wrapping around the stitching to build a park and build a ticket center, and then you've got this other stuff that's stitching for this, and then stitch the, it's beyond me right now. It's out of my headspace. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling that way, but that's where I'm feeling right now. And I think that they are doing a great shift, because, you know, things were in such a way for, it to be Harry Potter focused, and it worked with those books and things of that nature. And I think that the ultimate intention of like, oh, we're going to all work together to build this one park. Oh, we're going to all work together to build this attraction. Oh, we're going to all work to do this. I think that's great. And I think it's fantastic if you're in that headspace. I am not right now. And so I'm going to sit back and watch how it takes shape and see how I feel. I didn't join till February of last year. So if I decide to join later in the year, that's totally cool. I may join in the summer when I have a little bit more time on my hands. But right now I can't get my head around it. Now, Enchanted Stitching Challenges is the other group. I joined that one in September and kind of really participated a lot in October, November, and most of December. Towards the end of December, I fell off because I was trying to get Christmas presents done. I was trying to work on some projects I wanted to work on. I started all the things, and then we went on vacation for 5 days. And I didn't even focus on, when Monday rolled around on the 23rd, I didn't even look at homework. I was like, nope, or challenges. I didn't even look at that. So for January, they've released, it's going to be Peter Pan. I think there will be some cool challenges with that. This is something that I can wrap my head around, which is I like that there are different levels of participation. So if I'm not pushing for Royal for the month, which there's no need for me to get that. Like, it's great. The months I got it was like, yes, I got it. But I don't have to hit 250 stitches and everything, in every task. You could just do 30 minutes. You could do 50 stitches. Like, I like that if I've got a heavy week with something going on, like testing week at school is a perfect example, I may only get 30 minutes on something, and that's okay. I like that. I like that concept. So ultimately, those are the things that are potentially, for the most part, starting January participating in. I have yet, saying that, I haven't even looked at what Enchanted Stitching is starting out with. I probably need to do that. Okay, so also, I have decided that I'm going to pick 3 projects a month, aside from, or possibly overlapping with my Whipgo, to focus on a finish. It could be that it's particularly like close to a finish, or it's one I would like to get finished. So specifically for January, I would like to see Temperature Quilt get finished. I literally just have to stitch December temperatures. I would like to see my V Fairy get done by Nora Corbett. I don't know if it will, because it's going to have some metallic in it, I think, and it's going to maybe have beading. So we'll see. I would love to get that finished, at least the stitch finished by my daughter's birthday, which is towards the end of January. And then I also think a great piece kind of to talk about, like, the year is coming, like the year is starting over. What are some great, things to wrap your head around? I love that Lizzie Kate, the My To-Do list, and it talks about, be calm, just breathe. and it's my to-do list for today. And I love the sentiment behind that. And so I'd love to have that finished. And I'm thinking I'm going to do some kind of, I would love to finish it in a way like a flat finish and then put it on a clipboard and hang it in my classroom. If it will fit, I think it will fit on a clipboard. If not a regular one, a legal one, I think it would. All right, so we're going to talk in a minute about some planned new starts. There's a few at the beginning of the year, and then it's literally going to be like no more new starts for a little bit. And I've got I've got one in February and one towards the end of January that I'm going to briefly mention, but I don't have any of the stuff for it yet. And those are to go along with some other stuff. So I am also choosing to participate in Stitch 9 for 2020. There is a hashtag on Instagram. I saw a couple people post about it today. I think it's a great way to push yourself for some finishes. I picked a mixture of some kind of medium to smallish, medium and medium projects. I don't think, and some fairly larger ones. There's some things I'd like to see finished before the end of 2020 or in 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and show those right now. Or I'm going to talk about those right now, and I will. So just to show you pictures, I'm not going to pull papers and everything. I'm not going to pull fabrics out. So one of mine for sure is going to be Quilting Bee. Its birthday rolls around, I believe, in April, and I'd love to have it finished before its birthday, if not shortly thereafter. So that's on my list. Next on my list will be Strawberries and Stripes with Dye Needle and Thread by Brenda Gervais. And it is small. It's a small piece. It's got quite a number of stitches. It's not full coverage. But it's got a lot of color changes. Number 3 is going to be, you can see that picture of it, is my Downton Abbey. I'd love to have that one finished. I am going to, I think, do a hoop finish on that one if it fits. Okay, number 4. Now, granted, this is also on my Whipgo board. This one is. This is my Prairie Schooler Christmas Tree Farm. I'd love to get this one finished because I think I have like Reindeer Roundup that I would love to start at some point. But I've got to get some others finished first. I would love to get my blue flower. So I've got 2 blue flowers I'd like to finish. Blue flower, Autumn Drum. I'd like to get that finished and sent off to a finisher to do into a drum. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, I would also like to get Gobble Gob finished this year. Some of these are on my Whipgo board, but I don't really remember off the top of my head which ones are and which ones aren't. A lot of these I think are overlapping. The other one I would like to also see finished is Heartstring Samplery's Whip It Good. I have a ton of her charts that I would love to start, but I feel like I can't because I've got so many of hers started right now. And then 2 more. The next one that I would like to, this is number 8, will be Prince of Peace. I would like to get this one finished. I love this stitch. I did not do this stitch justice for Advent. I had every good intention, and then it was like one day and it fell off. I started all the things. So now we're going to start working on accomplishing some things. And then the other one that I would like to see finished and FFO'd before the end of the year so I can use it next year is my Heartstring Samplery Advent Candle Ornaments. And there's 5 of them. So I need to get on those. Alright, I dropped my paper, so hold tight for a minute. Alright, so we got Stitch 9. So let's talk about some new starts. So I've got some planned new starts. I've got some that I know. So let me talk a little bit about planned new starts. And then I've got some that are going to come eventually. So I'm actually going to start this one before today is over. And this is going to live, for the time being, I'm trying to keep stuff from falling on the floor. And it's just not working. This is a So Much to Love bag that I purchased. It was, I think, in their sale section. And I love this. It's a cute little, like, prairie-ish town that, like, has quilt designs. Cute herringbone. And then it's got, like, a green polka dot-ish design on the inside. And this is housing my Prairie Schooler, Prairie Birds, prairie birds, not prairie birds. That's the Texan in me. And I love these birds. They're so cute. Now, I wanted to pick one of these to stitch for like each month of the year. So like I have a January bird, a February bird. I don't know that I'm going to do that exactly. I think this is just going to be a cute little ornament set. Because I thought, okay, like cardinals could be December, but I don't have time to do that. Plus there's only 10. And I don't know how to make 2 more. I don't have the headspace for that. So this was one of the ones I needed to pull fabric for. I am stitching in the Call for DMC. And this is one of those mystery pieces that I just got. Or not mystery pieces. One of the pieces I got from Misty at Mystic Fabrics from her end of the year sale. This is a 32 count linen in a really pretty light blue, white, gray. And then I have, this is my floss palette. So I think that's going to be really pretty. So I'm excited. I'm going to start the very first bird tonight before I go to sleep. And we already celebrated. My daughter is already asleep for the night. I told her, all right, I'll see you in 2020. She goes, what? It's 2020 tomorrow? I was like, where have you been? Where have you been? Yes, tomorrow's 2020. So I'm going to start that before the year turns over. So it will be officially a 12/31 start date. All right, so then I have 2 that I am starting tomorrow because I've lost my marbles. No. So this is going to live, this bag used to hold hoity-toity. It is holding a relative of hoity-toity. This is a Diddly Daddle Designs bag. This is one of my favorite ones I've gotten from her. I just love this fabric. The pink, it's so cute. So I happen to be looking on, the little story behind this. I happen to be looking on Long Dog's website for cardinal points. I did not know that, excuse my Gatorade wrapper. I did not know cardinal points was kind of a specific to certain shops or with the thread pack. Anyway, it's not on as a purchase pattern on there. When I was looking, I found another one that I really like. Beverage of the evening. After my whirlwind flight and all of that yesterday, Gatorade Zero in Crinkly Glacier Cherry. So I saw this and I was like, yep, this is hashtag me this year. Like, I love this. So I purchased the pattern from Long Dog's website where you can get the PDF copy, which is great for me because I like to work off of a PDF if possible. And I went over immediately to 1 2 3 Stitch, picked my fabric or what I thought my fabric was going to be, and I bought all the flosses. Like I went over and I found the chart on theirs. I added, you know, you can click like select all because it was all the flosses. I selected all, and then I went back to my cart and I deleted the chart because I already had the chart, and I got all the flosses shipped to me. So this is my BOP. If you have watched one of my older videos, I love the concept behind a BAP. I don't think that any of my BAPs are big enough to be considered BAPs, so I'm calling them BOPs, big old projects, instead of big boop projects. That originated from my daughter asking me what a BAP was when she heard me listening to a Flosstube video, and I was like, well, it's a big, amazing project. And I thought, okay, I've got to call them something else. So they're BOPs, big old projects, but I like that those of you that do BAPs, big, amazing projects. Trademark it. Just kidding. So big, amazing projects. Oh, and that is upside down. This is count your blessings instead of sheep. And I like that sentiment. Count your blessings instead of sheep. So it's very similar to Hoity Toity. One thing that I like about it, there's a lot of things I like about it. One thing that I like is that it's got the really awesome floral border motif. However, it's not all the black back stitching. So it looks different from Hoity Toity in that respect. And I'm loving the little sheep up here, the little house. These chevrons are giving me life. The fan flowers, or as I call them, the croissant flowers, because they kind of look like a croissant, man. And this vase, look at that vase. And it has a fan flower too. And these fruit, the sheep, and the, so cute. Count your blessings instead of sheep. And so I think that's a great thing to think of, is like, hey, go to sleep at night, count your blessings instead of sheep. And so I'm going to be stitching this. I'm going back to my Ada. for this one. I tend to like my box to be on this is on 18 count Pictures Plus in sterling. I have this for several projects and I love it. I think it's a fantastic neutral. And so this is going to be stitched in a beautiful palette of Gentle Arts. I'm trying to get them all sorted. They were so nice. And One Classic Colorworks. Gentle Arts and One Classic Colorworks. And, oh, they're so pretty. And I think I showed this on because I got it from 123 Stitch. I think I showed it on a previous video. But, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. See if I can do it like the pros do. So there's that. So here is, maybe I could get this to be my screen grab. Let's see. See if I can get it. What do you think? You think it's going to be an option? No, they're going to pick me going like that. I'm serious. That's going to be my screen grab. Quote me on it. Anyway, so I'm excited about this start tomorrow on my BOP, my year of BOP. No, I really liked this piece. I've loved so far Hoity Toity. Hoity Toity is not going anywhere. I'm hopeful to finish page 2 and page 3 at least. Tim, my husband, his name is Tim. I just gave it away. But I can give his name because he's an adult. I choose not to give my child's name just because I just don't. He goes, you know you're going to want to finish that in 2020. He said, I might want to, but I also have 60 projects that I also want to work on, friend. Yes, I call everybody my friend. All right, so let's chalk another stitch for tomorrow. This one's going to live in this awesome, like, I don't even know what you'd call this. Strawberry cabbage. Strawberry cabbage pouch. This is a Cafe Facette. I think that's how you pronounce it. Fabric that I got from my local quilt shop, my LQS. And then it's got a pretty, Michelle, look, it's a batik. It's got a pretty batik inside that matches. She doesn't watch my videos. So like, Michelle, look, you're not seeing it, but look, I'm not cool enough for that. Although, let me tell you, if you have not watched her Flossmas videos, please go watch them. Like, they were such a delight to have that to look forward to each day. If nothing else, I watched her little short, quippy, cutesy videos each day. And I loved her yarn she got. I was like, man, because I had an opportunity to buy that yarn Advent, and I didn't. And I was like, oh, that's just too much money right now. I'm kicking myself. Kicking myself. All right, so anyway, I have decided, you know, in the past few years, words of the year have been really big. And so I thought, you know what? I want to stitch things that go with my word of the year. So I really contemplated hard about it. And I had already decided to start this chart because this chart came from, I ended up passing the stash to someone. And when I passed the stash, I passed my Carrot Forest project off to somebody who had contacted me and said, is there any way that I can purchase or we can swap or whatever? I was like, I'm not going to sell it because that's not right to sell it because it was part of a kit. And I don't have the remaining flosses or anything like that. So we can swap. That's cool. So she asked me to send her 2 chart links or a chart link off of 123 Stitch. And I sent her 2 and I said, pick one. Pick one. I would love either one and it'll be a surprise for me to see which one. And she picked the one that I really wanted. And so I've alluded to this one before many a times that this was going to be a new year, new start. So I've got my BOP and then I've got this one, which is my Big Toe Designs, Great Is Thy Faithfulness. I'm not going to sing it for you, but there is a video somewhere back there where I sing Great Is Thy Faithfulness, which is a beautiful hymn or a beautiful song, church song. And I've decided that I'm going to stitch this and my word of the year is going to be faith. And so I have at least one other project that is a faith project. So when this one gets finished, because it's not huge, it's not super involved. When I finish this one, I'll go on to the next faith project. So throughout the year, I'm going to have hopefully a string of projects that fit that faith. So I'll leave it at that. So I went through, I am not doing any of the call for. I'm doing close to the call for. I have looked, I don't know how many times on 123 Stitch, and the 4 colors, it calls for 4 colors. The 4 colors are consistently always out of stock. Always out of stock. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, that's a sign. One, they're popular colors. I get it. But I can figure something out. And so I kind of looked up some DMC equivalents, looked at what their thought process was. I picked a fabric that I liked. And then from there, I went with it. And I actually picked, this was another one that I got from Mystic Fabrics from Misty when she did her fabric done. This is not showing up quite as true to life as I'd like it to. This is more, let me use this piece of paper and see if it helps. Okay, that's a little bit better. It's a little more pinky with some cocoa-y brown tones in it. The white seems to help. It's an 18 count Aida. It's way more than I need. So I'm going to stitch and then I'll cut after the fact. It called for wrought iron, freedom, cucumber, and grape arbor. So I'm going to stitch this in this gorgeous palette, if I do say so myself, which is fairly close. We're not going to lie. It is fairly close of colors. And let me put my paper back up here and see if it helps. That's better. And so this is Color and Cotton Chimney Sweep, which I'm obsessed with. This is Victorian Motto, no, I can't remember. Victorian Motto Blue Moon, Victorian Motto Olden Sagebrush, and Victorian Motto English Irish. English Irish. I swear I had a problem with that when that one came in the mail. And so that's going to be my pretty palette. I love it. I love it. I'm like so pumped to start this one tomorrow. I'm pumped about the other one too. So I think what I'm going to probably end up doing is one of these is going to be a center start. I think I'm going to center start the bob. And I'm going to corner start this one because I really want to start with a Quaker motif. Or one of the motifs, the flower motifs. So yeah, this is going to get started tomorrow. And so is the bob. And I'm so excited. So put those over there. All right. If that was not enough, let me move that over there. Okay. I've got two more that I'm going to start on the second. Two I'm going to start on the second. One on the third. And one on the fourth. I've lost my mind. Oh, yes, I have. All right, so I have alluded to this project. This is my, and you know what? I don't even have this. Oh, I don't have what I need. Heck, I'm going to have to look it up on my phone. All right, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. How unprepared Annie is. No, okay, so I, a bit ago, found an amazing idea. I'm not taking full credit for this. I am taking it and running with it and modifying it. So first, let me find my, you may know this if you've watched enough of me, you may know by where I'm going. I'm going to Summer House Stitchworks in my Google Drive. And I am pulling up my Calico Sampler charts. I'm going to try to do it without showing you the chart itself and not also closing it. So this is the ABC Calico Sampler. So there are large blocks that have motifs along the side and then a really pretty scripted letter. And so let me show you my idea. I think it's in here. It is by the fantastic folks. I saw this and I was like, yes, I have to do this. It's the Inspired Needle. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. They created a banner that says Inspired Needle 2008. Established 2008. And I love this. And it's a wool felt banner, which I have made a wool felt banner in the past. So mine will be a banner as well. My banner, however, will say to encompass this year of transforming kind of, I'm going to get a little sentimental, coming full circle from where I was in 2018, where I had lost every ounce of joy I felt in my life. Quick backstory. My brother had been diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2015, and he progressively continued to have worse and worse and worse and worse seizures. He ended up having brain surgery and removed his entire temporal lobe of his brain in the end of August, the first week of school. He had brain surgery. He has not had a seizure since, which is a huge praise. At the same time, his wife's father was very, very sick with very invasive cancer throughout all of his body. It was due to some malpractice. And so there's a lot going on with that, even still, even to this point. And so in early September, her father passed away, and on that very same day, my grandmother went into the hospital unexpectedly, and within 10 days, she passed. From the time she went into the hospital, we saw her numerous times, but never cognizant to where we could even say goodbye. I also did not get to say goodbye to her husband, my grandfather, when I was 10, and he was my best friend in the whole world. And so losing her in much the same way, even though I'm clearly much older, and then watching my own daughter go through losing kind of the first significant person to her was really tough. I'm trying not to get weepy. So I literally feel like in those trying times, every single ounce of joy was sucked from my life. And sometime in around about October of 2018, maybe it was in as late as November of 2018, I had realized that I had not made my mom a cross stitch for Christmas in close to 15 or maybe even close to 20 some odd years. Not 20 years. No, at that point I think it was about 15 years I had not made her a cross stitch, and I set about to finish Lottie Da's Noah's Ark for her by Christmas. I did, and I gave it to her. And that, completing that and then moving into the year of 2019, I will say 2019 was the year of transformation for me. If I can look back and pick a word, it would be transformation. And so very much of that, and it may sound trite, it may sound like you may be very skeptical, but cross stitch saved me. It brought back who I am, the person that you see sitting in front of you each week, the people that you say, you bring me so much joy. You have no idea how much doing this every week continues to fulfill me with joy. So because of that, I decided, I contemplated what I wanted my banner to say, because I thought, okay, it could say Joy-Filled Stitcher. It could say, it could even just be my name. And I think that as far as I know, I did this a bit ago. I'm going to do a Joy-Filled Life established 2019. That will encompass myself, Joy-Filled Stitcher, my brand, my Joy-Filled Stitches, and it will also encompass just the fact that my life now has joy, thanks to this life-changing thing of finding cross stitch again. So I have a beautiful piece of 16 count Aida that is going to be the perfect size. This is in quartz. It's a really pretty dusty rosy color if you're not familiar with quartz. And I loved the palette of colors that Summer House Stitchworks did, so I used it as inspiration to pull out beautiful Victorian mottos and a color in cotton. I have mostly Victorian mottos and a color in cotton in similar color families, but just ramped up, jewel toned up. And I am over the moon with this. This brings me joy. To create this. And so this is my palette, and this is me right here. These vibrant bright colors. I do often stitch in uniquely different, but this I love it. And so to kind of run down, and I will share my color palette when I am finished, because it's possible that something could change. But I've got Victorian Motto Dark Cherry, Ballet Slipper, which I love, Berry Tart. This one's gorgeous. Berry Tart. Old Navy. Faded Primrose. That's another gorgeous one. The color in cotton is Rain Washed. This is like, if I could be a color in life, and it's not doing it any goodness right here, that would be my color in life. Everlast Sage. Love that. Ring of Marigolds. October Orange, and that's my palette. And I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited. And this lives in an absolutely insanely gorgeous Diana It Is Kismet pouch that I somehow managed through, I don't even know why this was still available, because I was like after the fact of posting. But look at this. It's a William Morris. It's perfect. It is perfect for this project. So thank you for putting this bag out in the world to put my beautiful project in. I mean, I'm clearly like, it's a beautiful project. I'm tooting my own horn here. But I'm excited about this, and I'm loving that I put it kind of back on the fabric that was my, like, I'm only gonna stitch on this. There's nothing wrong with the linen that I've been working with. I love it. I love the even weaves I've started to work with, but there was something about kind of coming back to Ada for this full circle, and I did for my bot too. So now we've got that. All right, so that is getting started on the second, along with, and I'm calling that also my Stitchiversary piece, because I kind of came back to stitching on January 2nd. So my Stitchiversary. It was kind of my first like new project of the year was started, and it was for my daughter. It was Sparkles the Unicorn by Fuzzy Fox Designs, and it's so cute. And I will show that in my video on Friday. I hope I remember, but I will show it. Okay, so then the other thing I'm starting, this is due in large part to the enabling of 2 Martini Stitcher Erin. I'm going to be stitching throughout the year the Lizzie Kate yearbook, and so I'm starting with January. I have pulled, I don't think it's the called for, I think it's close to the called for, and I'm going to be stitching these, and I chose this because I don't have enough to do all of them, but it should be easy to find the same fabric for all of them. And it's on a 32 count Vintage Country Mocha linen by Zweigert, and so it will be on those. And my palette is vast. No, it's actually really not. And I think the January and February both have the same palette. Now past that I don't know, because that's the only chart I have. And so here is, there's some are on bobbins. I've got a mixture of fancy and DMC, but so there's my palette of palette. I mean, even has a needle in it. It's like ready to go. I don't think the other ones do, but this one does. It's ready. Some I was a little more prepared for. Okay, so then I decided, you know what, that wasn't enough. That's not enough. And I had this project sitting, and I was like, yes, I want to start this. And I loved another design by this, and this is a terrible image. Go please to Etsy and look at this for real. This is by Punochka on Instagram, and I will do my best to do links tomorrow. It's not going to be this evening. And this is Light Up Someone's Life, and it's this beautiful, these lanterns with these kind of folk Quaker amazing open work on the interior. I love it, and the borders are adorable. I just love it. So I'm excited about that. I'm going to be stitching this on a piece of 16 count Gothic. Love it. Kind of looks like a night sky. By Pictures Plus. So that's my fabric. It's got blues and purples in it. And then I am doing close to the called for. However, I have pulled from my stash some fancies. And actually, I think they might all be fancies. No, I got some DMC in here. Most are fancies. I got DMC B5200 is the only not fancy. So let's see if I can do this. We got some Gentle Arts. We got some Victorian Motto. We got some Color and Cotton. We got some Classic Colorworks. We got all, the whole gang is here. So here is the majority of my palette. That is blowing that out. I've got B5200 white. I've got and then a few other, like a gray and a brown. How do you do this? I've been doing this for a while. An acorn. Okay, let me get my paper up here. Let me see if I can get this to stop. Insanely blowing this out. Get the white back there. So there's that one. That's terrible. It was not a good shot, but I'm excited about this one too. I have another Pinochka that I've already kitted up because I loved it just as much. It's not getting started though until like closer to spring, summer. So yeah. All right. So then one more shirt, and this was one that was decided on today. And all I have so far for it is fabric because I am going to pull flosses as they come. I am going to be participating. I did not know I was going to. I am going to be participating in, for sure, this one Mystery Sal. It is the Linens and Threads Mystery Sal 2020. It's all about family and friends. And so it's got these fantastic, let me pull up a picture of it. It's got these fantastic Quaker motifs within an opportunity to put in initials of people that are special to you. So let me find it real quick so I can show you what the first month looks like. I apologize. I'm less, but I am a little more now because I got a little weepy there. Okay, so here is the first, it's called Friends and Family. And here's the first month's motif. And so she's put in KK. I have decided that January, while January is my daughter's birthday, it was also my grandfather's birthday, was also in January. I am going to be stitching my dad's initials in January because his birthday is also in January and he's insanely important to me. And February, I really didn't have anything else. And my grandfather passed, and I know it's kind of morbid to put anniversary of a passing, but he passed, his birthday was January 31st. He passed on February 2nd. So February will be his initials. And then from there, I'm going to find, figure out what's going to go in each different month. I think every single one has maybe one set of initials. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to sit down and really contemplate over it and figure out so that when I'm in that month, I'll add them in. Also, what's really cool about this, it is a free sal. It's rather large. It's 244 by 244. They are also giving you a Christmas ornament every month. So I will be stitching the monthly and the Christmas ornament. And so I've tentatively picked 2 fabrics for my stash that will work. On 18 count, with 3-inch borders, I would need a 21 by 21. So I have this piece. This is a 32 count linen from Mystic Fabrics. This was one of the ones that she did for cutting cross stitches. So it was it was a larger cut. It's like a 3/4 yard cut, fat 3/4, I don't remember, fat 3/4 yard. This would be enough. So this is one option if I want to do it on linen. My only option I have in Aida, most of my Aidas are 18. That's fireworks. Lovely, my dog's gonna go bonkers. Hopefully my kid didn't wake up. I have this one from Mystic that's an 18 count. And this one's 21 by 24, so I've got enough of this one. I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe, if you'd like to, comment below, if you happen to watch this before the 4th, comment below with what you think might be a good, because I mean, it's actually stitched on, like, I think a white in their mock-up, which would make all the colors pop. However, I'm not opposed to a primitive look. I'm also not kind of opposed to this bluish, dark bluish gray. I also have the possibility of waiting a week and ordering something, but then it starts to eat in my stitch from stash unless I order it tonight, and then it doesn't count, which I might do. Because I could have maybe an even weave possibility. I may do that. We'll see if I can get on that before 11:59 p.m. before 12 o'clock a.m. so it doesn't count in my stitches. Is that cheating? Maybe. So my thought process though on stitching the colors is I'm going to sit down and pull some color palette and figure out. My thought is I've got a lot of silks from Mrs. Sadas as well as from Thread Pickers. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll pull in some of those. So we'll see. I'm not fleshing it out too much. Like I'm thinking, okay, January, I want it to be like colors that remind me of my grandfather. Or no, excuse me, my dad. Colors that remind me of my grandfather. Or colors of the season. I don't know. So that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Anywho, that being said, that's all my starts within the week. And for that matter, we're going to talk again. If you want to come back for my normal weekly update, normal regular old Flosstube, my awesome weekly updates. I'm funny. That's on Friday the 3rd. I will be here. Be square. I won't have actually started that, and so maybe we can chat about it again. I don't know. We'll see. I'll maybe have some more ideas. I do have 2 other starts. These are the only 2 other starts that are planned from now through the beginning of February, and I am participating in a stitch along with my local LNS. It is May Health and Peace. I can't remember what the remainder of it is. It's a beautiful sampler reproduction by Milady's Needle. And they are doing a kit, and they are doing a stitch along where you can come and stitch at the shop. I'm really excited about that. And so I called today and got placed my order for my DMC kit, and I will be picking that up on the 19th. They will have a stitching time from 1 to 4 and to put in your first stitches. So I will be there on the 19th. So that one's getting started on the 19th. The other one that I am going to plan to start in February is, in advance of the stitching retreat I'm going to in April. They're going to be doing a flat fold finish class at that, and so we are going to be doing Plum Street Samplers Bless Our Land. So I will be getting those kit items. I ordered the chart and the fabric from my local LNS, and because they're sponsoring it, and we'll get that started for that retreat at the beginning of April. I do have some other thoughts on, I've got plenty of other things kitted. I also am kind of watching for the first 2 months or 3 months, the Frosted Pumpkin Stitcheries 2020 Sal, which is the Animal Almanac, because my daughter is obsessed with all animals. She wants to be a veterinarian. Today she told me she wanted to be a teacher of veterinarians. I said, okay, you have to be a vet first. And then she also loves stuffed animals and anything like whimsical and imaginative. And so I'm kind of thinking like that could be fun to not stitch as one whole piece, but stitch as smalls for her. Because I started Pumpkinville early in the year, and it was too much to keep up with. It made me too like anxiety ridden when I was so far behind. So I gave up on that. But I think the little animals would be adorable as like little ornaments or something. So that being said, I think I have rambled enough in this excessively long video. By the time this is all said and done, I think we're approaching 2 hours. I'm approaching the incredible Jessie Marie's length of videos. So if you've made it to this point, you rock. I will be back on Friday to film my just normal Flosstube. I have a little bit of stitching to show. I'm hopeful. My mail was supposed to show up today. Hopeful it shows up. If not, I'm going to have to go get it from them on Friday. They were supposed to, my hold mail was supposed to be delivered today by my postal carrier, and they did not, which my guess is my postal worker was on vacation, because he's amazing. And so I might have a few things to share in that respect. I think I have an Undersea Fabrics order that I had placed back in November that should maybe be here. I don't even remember what I ordered. That's okay. It'll be a surprise, like a mystery. And we'll talk about some things I worked on since the last time we had talked on that Friday. And we'll chat about what I maybe have started. Because these things are all planned, but plans can change. They can. And where I am with some of my setting up my planner and stuff like that. So hopefully Friday's video will not be long and lengthy. However, I love to chat. And here I am chatting at you right now. And this video is insane. Anyway, with that being said, have a wonderful, blessed New Year's Eve. Be safe. Watch out for the crazies on the road. If you happen to be out and about. If you're watching this and it's up before midnight, then you're probably not out on the road. So you're staying in the safeness and the calm and the quiet, which is where I am. With that being said, I'm going to go get this uploaded, get it working on whatever, and I wish you a wonderful start to the new year. Here we go. It's 2020. So with that, I will leave you. Bye, my friends.